Okay, so have you ever really stopped to think about, well, everything you own? Your phone, the coffee you're drinking, maybe even the car you drive? How did it get to you? Chances are it was part of this huge, almost invisible web of ships that are constantly crisscrossing our oceans. Now, for centuries, this system has been the absolute lifeblood of global trade. But today, it's under some serious, unprecedented strain. We're talking about a perfect storm of modern challenges. Yeah, the maritime industry, we're talking about one of the oldest industries in the world, is really being tested like never before. It's kind of like an ancient giant trying to find its way through a completely new, chaotic world. The system that brings us literally everything is being pushed to its absolute breaking point. And you know what? The old ways of doing things, they just don't cut it anymore. And what's so wild is how all these pressures just pile on top of each other. It's not just one thing, right? It's everything, all at the same time. You've got a saturated market for containers, butting heads with crazy global inflation. Then you throw in geopolitical conflicts like the war in Ukraine, messing up crucial shipping routes while fuel costs are just soaring. And on top of that, there are stricter environmental rules demanding cleaner operations. And as if that wasn't enough, the ships are getting bigger and bigger, which means if one thing goes wrong, the financial and safety risks are just astronomical. So, okay, faced with this massive crisis, what do you do? Where does the industry even begin to turn? Well, the answer isn't as simple as build bigger ships or hire more people. Nope. The answer is smarter technology. We're talking about a digital lifeline, something that can pull this ancient industry right into the 21st century. And that is the Internet of Things, or as you've probably heard it, IoT. So, what even is IoT? Well, in the simplest terms, it's all about making everyday dumb objects smart. For the shipping world, this is a total game changer. It means creating a kind of digital nervous system for the ships, for the cargo, and for the ports themselves. Just imagine it. Every single critical piece of machinery, every container, every crane, all of them able to talk to each other. They can report their status, their location, their own health, all of it, in real time. That is the unbelievable power we're talking about unlocking here. All right, so how does this digital nervous system actually work in practice? Let's break it down. Think of it as a four-step journey for data. First up, you have the sensors, and we're talking thousands of them, collecting raw info on literally everything, from the engine's temperature to the humidity inside a single shipping container. Then, that data gets a quick process right there on site before it's beamed up to the cloud. And finally, some really powerful software crunches all that information and spits it out on a simple dashboard. It turns this, a sea of numbers, into clear, actionable intelligence that a captain or a port operator can actually use. Okay, so let's see this in action. Our first stop is going to be way out on the open ocean, on board the ships themselves. This is really where IoT is making its most immediate, most powerful impact, turning what was once just a simple ship into a smart, data-driven machine. And look, this is not science fiction. This is happening as we speak. Sure, IoT gives you precise real-time tracking, which is great. But the real magic, it's in prediction. Think about it. Instead of just waiting for an engine to break down in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, which is a nightmare scenario, sensors can actually predict that failure is coming weeks in advance. You've got algorithms analyzing weather patterns to automatically plot the most fuel-efficient route. You can even use drones to inspect the ship's hull, so you don't have to send a person into a really dangerous spot. The entire game just flips from being reactive, fixing problems after they happen, to being proactive. And here's a perfect real-world example of just how valuable this is. Let's talk about the shipping giant HMM. They've put IoT sensors on over 1,000 of their refrigerated containers. They call them reefers in the industry. Now, if you're shipping high-value stuff like fresh fruit or life-saving pharmaceuticals, keeping that perfect temperature and humidity is, well, it's everything. Before IoT, a cooling system failure could mean the entire shipment was a total loss. But now, they can see a problem starting to happen in real time and fix it immediately. We're talking about saving millions of dollars in potential losses. But look, a smart ship is really only half the story, right? It needs a smart port to dock at. So the next phase of this whole revolution is happening right there at the docks. This is where IoT is transforming these, traditionally chaotic hubs of activity into these finely tuned, almost automated ecosystems. And honestly, the difference is just night and day. Think about the old way. You had captains, pilots, terminal operators, all trying to coordinate over these crackly radios. It was a system just begging for human error. Now, the new way? It's a seamless, automated exchange of data. You've got sensors on the docks, sensors on the cranes, sensors on the ships. They are all talking to each other, which allows for predictive traffic management. It is literally the difference between trying to navigate with an old paper map versus using a GPS with live traffic updates. And if you want to peek into this future, you have to look at the port of Rotterdam. They actually partnered with IBM to build a digital twin of the port. And what that means is they've created a perfect virtual copy of the entire thing. It's constantly pulling in data from IoT sensors spread across 42 kilometers of land and sea. It's tracking weather, ship movements, water levels, everything. This lets them simulate and manage ship traffic with just incredible precision. It's what makes one of the busiest ports in the world also one of its safest and most efficient. Okay, so as exciting as all this is, we need a little reality check here. This kind of transformation isn't as simple as just flipping a switch. Adopting IoT on this kind of massive scale is a huge, huge undertaking, and believe me, it comes with some pretty significant hurdles to get over. This is where you really see the core tension, the big tug of war. On one side, the advantages are just massive. We're talking way more efficiency, huge cost reductions, better safety, and incredible returns on that investment. But on the other side, the barriers are just as real. The upfront cost to do all this, it's really high. Connecting everything to the internet, well, that opens up a whole new world of cybersecurity risks. And trying to get all this shiny new tech to work with the old legacy systems, it's a nightmare. But the single biggest barrier, it might not be what you think. Yeah, it's not just about the money or the machines. It's about people. The industry is staring down a massive skills gap. You need people with serious tech skills to build and maintain these systems. You need data analysts who can actually make sense of this flood of new information. And you need managers who have a clue how to lead a company through this kind of digital transformation. And finding people who can do all three of those things, that's the real challenge. But even with all those challenges, the momentum here is just undeniable. The economic and environmental pressures are way too big to ignore, and the potential upside of IoT is just too massive. So really, the question is no longer if the industry is going to adopt this technology. The real question is just how fast. And if you need just one single number to understand why this is absolutely inevitable, here it is: 80%. A potential 80% increase in productivity. Look, in an industry where gains and efficiency are usually measured in tiny little fractions of a percent, a number like that, that's not just an improvement. That is a complete and total revolution. It fundamentally rewrites the entire economic rulebook for global shipping. So yeah, while that initial cost is high, this is an investment that pays for itself over and over and over again. It leads to smarter, data-driven decisions that save fuel, that prevent those super expensive failures we talked about, and, this is critical, it helps the industry hit its urgent carbon reduction goals. It's a powerful investment in being both more profitable and more sustainable. All of which brings us to the ultimate question, doesn't it? If you have smart ships sailing on a sea of data, docking at fully automated smart ports, what's the next logical step? We're talking about technology that is paving the way for a future that not too long ago was pure science fiction, fully autonomous, unmanned fleets. The question is no longer if, it's when.